Thank you for having me up here. I kind of have a really silly question. Considering your infinite intelligence, this might be really kind of crazy. But so here's the deal, okay? So I have my own company, but I really like this show called Schitt's Creek, and it's on Netflix. And I watch it like all the time. So I'm doing I'm making my bed.
You know what Esther likes about that?
What?
She's watched all of it. You know what she likes about it? You know what the premise of it is? Yes. Premise of it is a family loses their fortune to a ne'er-do-well financial person. And the government takes everything they own. We've often said to you, if you went home and your house wasn't there, you'd be in a better place than ever because everything would be new to you. But the only thing that they still possess is this wealthy, wealthy, wealthy family previously. The only thing that they still possess is a town called Schitt's Creek that the father bought for the son for a joke. And the government didn't confiscate it because it had no value. So now they move there to this town with backward people. And so it's two cultures sort of integrating. But the thing that Esther loves about it is that they are nice people who are finding ways to enjoy each other. It's a blending of niceness. Yeah. And it doesn't matter where you are. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I'll be watching the show, and I got new bedding, and I'm making my bed, and the show's on in the background, and he's making his bed, or he just got something, he's making his bed, and the TV's playing that, and I'm doing that same thing, and it keeps happening over and over again, and I keep going, oh, alignment, oh, that's alignment, because I'm seeing it after I think it. I can't really explain it, but it seems like it's like synchronicity.
Well, there is synchronicity to everything. Sometimes people would think, well, when there are only 4 plots going on, and so the odds of you hooking up with something that they might be doing, but it's bigger than that. Anytime that you notice something or identify something and then activate it in your vibration, then the universe causes you to align with it more and more and more and more and more.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just read your books and get a lot of clarity on stuff, and then I just do my work thing, and then I just read your book again, and then you're like, go do. So I just get clear and then make money, and then get clear again and then make more money, and then I get clear again and then just keep making more money. That's kind of what I do.
And we really like your formula. We would just add some other words to it. Get clear again, those are really good words. But we would add to those words by saying, find pleasure in something which brings me clarity. And then.
Yeah, it seems like I'm downloaded, you know me, I'm your family or something. I don't know, I'm downloaded to you. And then I'm starting to notice I'm downloaded to everything. My husband makes me watch Batman, okay? I just don't want to watch it anymore. But then I realize, I can watch Batman with everybody in the world that's ever watched Batman and have that same experience. You're there and everybody's there, and so it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. It matters kind of how I'm feeling while I'm doing that.
Let's talk about this. It seems like an odd way to approach this, but stay with us because there's something really good about this conversation. And this is the way we like to explain it. Most people are trying to figure themselves out in relationship with everybody else. So most everybody's cataloging and pigeonholing everything. There are those who like to watch Batman, and there are those who like to watch basketball, and there are those who like to watch politics, and so forth. And so there are all these piles of humanity, all sort of aware of each other, but mostly just aware of where they stand, and mostly believing that where they stand is the good place, and that where everybody else stands is a lesser good place. And so there's that feeling of competition, and mostly a lot of resistance that people are feeling about each other. So, of course, you have your samenesses and your similarities and your harmonies. This is the contrast from which you're selecting your preferences. Esther wants to rearrange the furniture in the suite she's staying with in this hotel because she knows for sure that that picture was supposed to be centered over the couch, and now it isn't. So at one time, she knows that that living room was down there, and so she sort of wants to move the couch. If anybody wants to help her, she's going to do it this afternoon. Always looking for improvement is sort of how you're all wired. Well, we would like you to look at this clump of humanity and all of the Schitt's Creek watchers and the Batman watchers and whatever other category that you're wanting to see, and see from our point of view that there are only two categories worth mentioning. There's the clump of people who are in this moment under the influence of their inner being. And there is a clump of people that in this moment are not under the influence of their inner being. And it doesn't matter what activity that they are involved in. It only matters if they are under the influence of Source while they are involved or not. Because if they are under the influence of Source, then no matter what they are involved in, they are finding the positive aspects of it, and it's feeding them in a positive and productive way, and they are enjoying their life in this moment, which is what it's all about. Can you hear that from us? When we say you are here for the pleasure of creating here, do you hear that, or do you think you're here to fix a broken world? Do you think you're here with responsibility, or do you think you're here for the pleasure of creating? And if there is anything that we have noticed as we have been sort of guiding Esther along in watching her discover her true self, who she really is, it's this subject of the practicality that she has been taught by her physical surroundings and the power of connection, which we are teaching. And we are wanting her to hear us when we say there is nothing more highly practical than to be tuned into this source energy. And so that's why a conversation that you sort of started out here with feels frivolous and not important. In other words, shouldn't we be trying to heal cancer? And shouldn't we be trying to feed the hungry? And shouldn't we be trying to do something about world peace? And we say those problems that are big problems, that the consciousness have thought of as big problems, as soon as we focus upon those, you know what happens? You disconnect from your source and you become part of one of those piles that is powerless to change anything. Powerless to change anything. If you are not willing to be selfish enough to hook up to this energy that feels good when you hook to it, then you haven't got anything to give anyone anyway, you see. And so we just wanted to put some context into what you're talking about, because at face value, you look a little flaky. And so does Esther, talking about these things that are frivolous in nature when there are real world problems that could be addressed. The other day, Esther was having a moment. She wasn't daydreaming, she was nightmaring. And she sat to visit with us, asking us if we could help her out of it. And she can always reach us. And we said to her, this isn't a good time for you, Esther. Because we can't come low enough to find you, and you can't come high enough to find us. Go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed.
I feel really blessed to be able to sit up here with you.
You're blessed whether you get up here or not.